My whole entire life, over these last several weeks, has felt like a movie. Over this last month alone, I've experienced some of the worst things that could ever happen to a human being. A few months before coming into the new year, I lost my job. Shortly after that, I received a notice from my landlord to pay her quick because I was behind on the rent. Shortly after that, my power gets turned off. Then shortly after that, I get denied UI benefits because my former employer that I used to work for fabricated a lie to the UI claims and told them that I was rude to a customer, which is why they fired me. So, you know that saying when someone says, when everything could go wrong, does go wrong, or something like that, or however that saying goes? That's how it's felt in my life over these past several weeks, over this past month. And have there been times where I wanted to quit or give up? Absolutely. There have been times where I just said, God, what is the point? Like, why am I even here? To just go through this and suffer when I'm trying my best to become a better man. I'm doing everything I can to become a better man. And it just seems like one thing after another keeps going wrong. Before all of that happened, I lost my family. So there have been so many things that have been going wrong in my life. And it just seems like, when are things going to go right? And as I look back over everything that I've gone through over the past several months, I realize that God is not punishing me. He's preparing me. He's preparing me for something greater than what I could have ever imagined or asked for, because I've been asking God for some big things. But also, I wasn't ready to receive those big things. And you want to know why? Pride, ego, and selfishness. Pride, ego, and selfishness have been my downfall and my enemy. I'm being 100% honest with you. And maybe some of you out there might have the same problem that you don't want to admit to. I didn't want to admit it. But as I look back, I realized that I had a lot of pride, a lot of ego, and a lot of selfishness. You know, it's quite selfish to think that it's okay to try and start a family when you know that you yourself, as a man, are not financially ready to take care of a family. When you know you're in trouble already financially. But just because you love that woman and you want that woman and you want to give her the world, but you don't have the means to give her the world, it's not fair to jump into something when you're not prepared yet as the man. I'm not saying you have to be rich or be a multimillionaire. It's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you as a man have to be financially fit and healthy and responsible to be able to take care of yourself first before you decide to start a family. It's quite selfish to want to have sex before marriage, which a lot of people do. I'm sure a lot of people watch this are like, it's normal, get with the times. Those are the old times. No, they're not the old times. They are the old times, the present times, and the future times, because the Bible doesn't change. We want to twist things to fit our own narrative, so we say, oh, it's okay. Those are the old times. No, fornication is fornication. And with that comes repercussions. It's a sin to have sex before marriage or outside of marriage. So if you're trying to make excuses for it, then all you're doing is falling into the enemy's trap. And you're storing up sinful consequences to come your way at any given time. It happened to me. I'm a man of God. I love God. I love the Lord. I talk to God every single day. But that doesn't mean that you're walking with God the way you're supposed to. How can you say that you truly love your spouse or your parents, and yet you're doing something every single day that you know is hurting them? It goes against what they ask or expect of you. How can you say you truly love them if you're doing the very opposite and you know it's hurting them? Ask yourself that question. Is that really love? Or are you taking advantage of their love because you know that they love you? And that's what we do as believers. Even if you're not a believer, then you could listen to this too and understand that sleeping with someone before you're married is actually spoiling the treasures and the gifts and the rewards that come with sex in the confines of marriage. Because what you're being led by is lust and temptation, which is what I was led by for years. For years, I was led by it. And the devil wants you to fall into lust. He wants you to fall into lust. Because once you fall into lust, you become distracted. And then you fall off your God-given purpose. Your focus shifts from your goals, your dreams, and your vision to, how can I get that woman? How can I take her home tonight? That's the focus. And the same thing for women when they think that their worth is tied to if a man wants them or not. No. Your worth is tied to what God says about you. And God says you're of royal bloodline. So if you're of royal bloodline, that makes you a queen. A queen doesn't have to dress a certain way, twerk and shake her booty on the internet to get attention from men, to even get attention, because she knows who she is. And she doesn't have to lust after the flesh because she's so in love with God that it's going to take a man to be in love with God to even touch her or come near her. I don't even know how I got on this today. But for some reason, I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this. Because my grief and the affliction and the things that I've gone through and experienced over these last several months sound like a tragedy. And in a lot of ways, that's what it has felt like, a tragedy. Throw in the towel, stick a fork in me, I'm done. Bury me, jump off a bridge. Thoughts of negativity just crossing my mind just because it just seems like no matter how hard I try, nothing's going my way. But it's a lie, and it's a trick of the enemy. It's a lie, and it's a trick of the enemy, because if Job felt that way, he wouldn't have wound up being blessed with a double portion of blessings than what he had before his afflictions. If Joseph felt that way, for he was betrayed by his own brothers and thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, 13 years, I believe it was, and then even betrayed lied on by Potiphar's wife, and the things he went through to eventually becoming the prime minister and second in command to only the king. David, with everything he went through and experienced, but he was redeemed. Oh, you don't want to talk about people in the Bible? Okay. Well, let's talk about Steve Harvey. Homeless, slept in a car for 3 years. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, $7 in his pocket. Samuel L. Jackson had a drug problem, didn't really have anything going for himself. He didn't really get a big break till he was late in his 40s, I believe. Samuel L. Jackson. Colonel Sanders, the owner and creator of KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, didn't get his big break till he was in his 60s. His 60s. We're so caught up in the trouble, the turmoil, the trials, the tribulations, that we don't even think about the victory and the joy that's coming, because the devil's got you so focused on what's going on right now. But God moves in mysterious ways. He's got blessings with your name on them. Your breakthrough is still coming, but you have to be transformed. Now that I look back at everything, I realize that I wasn't being buried. I was being planted. Planted and buried are two different things. And I pity anybody who laughed at me or tried to make a mockery of me because of my choice to be vulnerable about some of the things I was going through. Because what God is going to do is going to bless me. He's going to, in front of them, so that they can see what God has done for me in my life. He's going to do that. Oh, yes, he is. And anybody who laughs at anybody who's going through a tough time, be careful. Because you may not be going through a tough time right now. But you can be rest assured, your day is coming. There will be a day where you're struggling and going through a tough time. It might not be similar to what that person's situation is. Oh, but your tough time is coming. It is. And then you will beg for forgiveness for how you mistreated that other person. It says in the Bible that you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That means that God is going to bless you in spite of your haters, your naysayers, the people that talk down on you, the people that throw dirt on your name. He's going to bless you in spite of what they say, in spite of what they think about you, in spite of what they even try to do against you. He's going to bless you right in front of them so that they see you and watch you eat and watch you grow and watch you be promoted right in front of their faces. And they're going to have to see it. And he has ways of making them see it. You think that it's just limited to social media? Mm-mm. God has so many ways of making things happen. It'll spin your head 1,000 miles an hour. They'll see it. They'll see it. And they'll sit back in regret for how they treated you, how they mocked you, and how they laughed at you. Some of them will be fuming, wondering how you got it, how you got the promotion, how you got the car, how you got the house, how you got that good man, how you got that good woman, how you got that spot on a new TV show, how you just landed a big deal with a new client. They will watch and they'll see it because God will make sure that they see it for you on your behalf. You just have to stay focused on God. And I know I said this in a previous video, but I feel like I'm being led to say it again. You cannot quit, even when it feels like you want to, because it's hard, it's tough. Let's face it, life sucks sometimes. Life is hard sometimes. I wouldn't say life sucks. Life is a blessing. But what I mean to say is sometimes life is hard. Sometimes life is extremely hard. But you know what else is true? Life is beautiful. Life is a blessing. Life is joy. Life is happiness. Life is love. It's not all hard. Whatever it is you want to do, please don't quit. Go for it. Because there are blessings with your name on them that God has for you. And sometimes you have to be put through some trials and some tests to see if you're ready to receive those blessings. Because they might be too big for your britches right now. But if you prove yourself strong and you don't give up and you stand up in the face of adversity and you let the adversity know, no matter how much you knock me down, by the grace of the living God, I'm going to keep on getting back up again. Because you can't defeat me. I've got Almighty God on my side. And God is going to bless your life in such a way that's going to blow your mind and everybody else's around you. I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I know that I'm talking to myself even right now because I feel that. But I feel like I'm talking to somebody else out there too. God is going to bless you. Single mom, don't you quit. You keep on pushing. Don't you give up. Your son is depending on you. Your daughter is depending on you. Your children are looking up to you. Don't you quit. Single father, you keep on pushing. You keep on working. You stand up and you be a man. So that your son can be proud and look up to his daddy. And he'll remember. So you know what? When we didn't have anything, my daddy was pushing. My daddy was working. And now, look at us now. Because of the sacrifices that my daddy made. The little girl that looks up to her dad as her hero. Don't you quit. Don't you give up. That little girl is depending on you. You are her daddy and her father. That musician out there, don't give up. You keep on putting those demo tapes out there. You keep on pouring your heart and your passions into that music. And don't give up. Because it's going to take one ear out there to hear what you got. And you can wind up on the radio. Don't you ever quit whatever your passion is out there. Whoever is out there that has passions and dreams that you're going for, don't you stop. Because God sees you. You do what you can do. And let God do what he can do supernaturally. Don't worry about the haters. You keep on doing what you can do. And don't quit. Because sooner or later, at the right time, in due season, you are going to reap the benefits and the proceeds and the blessings from God. But you mustn't quit. Keep going, and don't you ever quit. You got this.